I was spending a lot of time doing conventional graphic design and especially brand work. It kind of reached a point where I fell out of love with that work. I came to a point at the end of 2018, in October on my birthday, and I sat down at my desk. I just couldn't do it. I decided I was not going to spend my birthday doing this. I decided I was going to just spend the day making something. And I started playing with an idea that I'd had floating around in my head for a while. I'd been scrolling through mountains that I'd shot in the Swiss Alps. Just had the observation that some of these rock formations looked like the wrinkled skin of an elephant. I basically spent that whole day in a state of flow and very engaged. At the end of the day, I shared it to Instagram and people really responded to it. Also, very importantly, I really enjoyed making it. My name's Josh Dykgraaf. I'm a photographic manipulation artist. I'll go hiking somewhere and snap away at anything that looks interesting, and I might be inspired by something that I find while I'm out there. I'm a big believer in the idea that there's no such thing as just a job. If you spend 35, 40, 50 hours a week doing something, that's not just your job, that's your life. That is the best hours of your day, every day doing that thing. Being able to spend my days out in nature and spending my days photoshopping stuff. I'd consider that like a pretty good life to live. The start of the project is usually where I'm in flow, particularly that first 8 to 10 hours. They are the most enjoyable parts. I'm laying it down in pieces and I don't have to be especially clean. Exploring that idea and making it take form. That process of building something together like that, using photos like Lego bricks to construct something, I found, very engaging. The idea of being a professional artist has kind of been an aspiration I've had basically since uni. And it had only been something I'd sort of daydreamed about doing. The combination of finding work that I was really enjoying making, that people were responding to, and suddenly largely unemployed, that led me to, okay, let's use this time and I'm going to put on an art show. Firstly, there is a real satisfaction to seeing something in print for the first time. Seeing something that you've just seen on a screen for hours and hours actually become a real world object is its own kind of satisfaction. From a distance, it just looks like an image of the animal. They get drawn in, they'll see that something is wrong. It usually takes most people a few seconds to realize that the whole thing is made out of disposable face masks. And when they have that moment, they have an emotional reaction. And going to those fairs, I get to watch that happen time and again, and that informs so much. In my opinion, the best work I've done is the work I've done around the 2019 and 2020 bushfires. And that work struck a real note with a shared experience that we all had that summer. And I went out there hiking, shot a whole bunch of material for that, and then that led to me creating a piece of a pair of koalas out of those burnt landscapes. I've exhibited that a few times, and people have just been looking at that on the wall and started crying. Like, the idea that I can be dicking around in Photoshop for a few days. I made someone feel something that strongly. It's just, We ended up turning that into a fundraiser for Wires Australia. I came out of that with the experience of, I want more of that, please. I want something that has a deep impact on people. And it gave me a real feeling of I'm doing something pretty important here. And this is something new. I've never done this before. I want to make images based on marine life and the impacts that drilling for new oil and gas projects are having. And just the effect that fossil fuels have on marine life. And the idea is here, we're shooting material that will emulate crude oil and also photographing ice. So the idea is that I'll be making it into animals like penguins and orcas. So if you imagine the black section of the animal is made out of this crude oil, and then the white sections of the animal are made out of ice. There's a pinky blue kind of reflection that you get with oil. I'm gonna have to photograph that texture as well, and I'll composite that in as well, because I think that would make, oh, yeah. I'm very excited about making this image. It's gonna be, yeah. In the last 6 months, when people encounter my work outside the context of my Instagram or outside the context of a gallery, a lot of people will just think, oh yeah, AI. And that's an impact that's happening for a lot of digital art now. I get the sense that this is a shake-up that will be at least as big as the digitalization of the creative space, possibly bigger. An artist's job should not be just to make pretty things. We need to contribute to the overall conversation. That's fine if, as an artist, if you want to make pretty things. I've spent a great deal of time doing that too. In my experience, I did it long enough that I felt like I needed more. Making work that makes people think about this stuff, and maybe in small ways makes them change the way they live a bit. Well, the feeling I get from that compared to making branding for cryptocurrencies. I guess fundamentally, you got to follow your gut more than anything else. You got to feel like you're doing something, and you got to feel right with yourself. And I feel right with myself doing this stuff, doing the activist stuff.